Hello, and welcome to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Jason, your host, and as always, I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Julia. Hey, Julia, how are you today?
Hey Jason, I'm doing great, and I'm really excited about today's episode because we're talking about something that every English learner struggles with, turning silence into speaking.
Exactly. If you're learning English but often stay silent because you're afraid of making mistakes or you don't know what to say, then this episode is for you. We're going to help you break that silence and start speaking with confidence.
That's right, and the good news is, you don't have to be perfect to start speaking. Speaking is a skill, and just like any skill, the more you practice, the better you get. That's right, and the good news is, you don't have to be perfect to start speaking. Speaking is a skill, and just like any skill, the more you practice, the better you get.
Yes. So in this episode, we're going to talk about why English learners stay silent, how to change your mindset, and overcome fear. Practical techniques to start speaking today. Daily habits that will help you become a confident speaker. And of course, we'll share some easy, fun exercises that you can do right after this podcast.
That sounds amazing. And for all of you listening, make sure to stay with us until the end because we have a special challenge for you that will help you start speaking immediately.
Yes, so grab a notebook, take some notes, and let's get started. Are you ready, Julia?
I'm ready. Let's go.
So, let's start with the big question. Why do English learners stay silent? Julia, in your experience, what do you think is the most common reason?
Great question, Jason. I think one of the biggest reasons is fear of making mistakes. A lot of learners feel nervous because they don't want to say something wrong and embarrass themselves.
Exactly. And you know what? This fear is totally normal. But here's the truth. Mistakes are actually a good thing. They show that you're learning and improving.
Yes. If you never make mistakes, it means you're not pushing yourself enough. Every fluent speaker, even native speakers, makes mistakes sometimes.
That's so true. Now, another reason people stay silent is lack of confidence. Many learners think, my English isn't good enough yet, so they just listen instead of speaking.
Right, but confidence doesn't magically appear. You build confidence by speaking. The more you speak, the easier it becomes.
Yes, and another common problem is social anxiety. Some learners feel nervous about speaking in front of others, especially in a new language.
That's a big one. Some people feel shy even in their native language, so speaking in English feels even harder.
Exactly. But here's something interesting. When we were kids, we weren't afraid to make mistakes. We just talked and learned along the way. But as adults, we start worrying too much about being perfect.
That's a great point. Perfectionism is another reason people stay silent. They think, I need to know the perfect sentence before I speak. But the truth is, perfect English doesn't exist. Even native speakers don't always use perfect grammar.
Yes, and one last reason I hear a lot is, I don't know what to say. Some learners stay silent because they feel like they don't have the right words or ideas.
That's a real struggle. But the solution is simple. Start small. You don't need to have deep conversations in English right away. Just start with basic sentences like introducing yourself or talking about your day.
Exactly. So now that we understand why people stay silent, it's time to talk about how to change that mindset and start speaking. Are you ready, Julia?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. Now that we know why people stay silent, let's talk about how to break free from that silence. And the first step is changing your mindset.
Yes, because before you can change your speaking habits, you need to change the way you think about speaking. Many learners tell themselves, I can't speak English well, or I'm not ready yet. But these thoughts create fear, and fear leads to silence.
Exactly. Instead of saying, I can't speak English, change it to, I am learning to speak English. That small change makes a big difference.
I love that. It's called a growth mindset, believing that your skills can improve with practice. Nobody is born fluent in a language. Even native speakers had to learn step by step.
That's such an important point. And here's another trick. Instead of focusing on mistakes, focus on progress. If you spoke even one sentence today, that's progress.
Yes, and here's a fun exercise. Think about a time when you learned something new, like riding a bike or using a new app. At first, it was difficult, right? But the more you practiced, the easier it became. Speaking English works the same way.
Exactly. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. Even if you only say simple sentences, you are already winning.
So from today, stop saying, "My English is bad." Instead say, "I am improving every day." And remember, confidence comes after you start speaking, not before.
I love that. All right. Now that we've got the right mindset, let's talk about practical ways to start speaking right now. Now that we've talked about changing your mindset, let's move on to the most important part. Practical ways to start speaking. Julia, what's the first tip?
The first and easiest way is thinking in English. Many learners try to translate from their native language, but that slows them down. Instead, start with small things. For example, when you wake up, think, "I am getting out of bed," instead of translating from your native language.
That's a great tip. You don't need to form long sentences. Just start with single words or short thoughts. Like if you see a car, think, "That's a red car." The more you do this, the more natural English will feel in your mind.
Exactly. Another great way to start speaking is talking to yourself. It might feel strange at first, but it's powerful. Try describing what you're doing. For example, if you're making coffee, say out loud, "I am making coffee. I am adding sugar."
I love that. And if you want to take it a step further, you can record yourself speaking. Just talk for 1 minute a day about any topic, then listen to it. Over time, you'll hear your improvement.
That's a fantastic idea. And here's another trick: use a mirror. Look at yourself while speaking. This builds confidence and helps you see your facial expressions, making your speech more natural.
Yes. Now, another tip that I highly recommend is shadowing. This means listening to a native speaker and repeating what they say immediately. It helps with pronunciation and fluency.
Right. You can do this with movies, TV shows, or even podcasts like this one. Just pause, repeat the sentence, and try to copy the rhythm and tone.
That's a game changer. And if you're ready to practice with real people, a great method is joining an online speaking group or finding a language partner.
Yes, there are so many apps and websites where you can connect with other learners or native speakers for free. Even practicing with a friend or family member can help.
Absolutely. And for those who don't have a speaking partner, don't worry. You can still improve by using AI chatbots or simply reading aloud.
Yes, reading out loud helps with pronunciation, confidence, and fluency. So even if you're reading a short paragraph from a book or an article, say it out loud.
Perfect. So to summarize, here are 5 practical ways to start speaking today. 1. Think in English, no translation. 2. Talk to yourself. Describe your actions. 3. Use shadowing repeat after native speakers. Read aloud. Practice pronunciation. Join speaking groups. Find language partners.
These are easy steps that anyone can do starting right now.
Yes! And speaking of easy steps, next, we're going to talk about daily habits that will make speaking English effortless. All right, now let's talk about something that holds many learners back: fear and anxiety. Julia, why do so many English learners feel nervous about speaking?
Great question, Jason. I think the biggest reason is fear of making mistakes. Many learners worry that others will laugh at them or judge them if they say something wrong.
Yes, and I totally understand that feeling. But here's the truth. Everyone makes mistakes. Even native speakers. Mistakes are not something to be afraid of. They're a natural part of learning.
That's right. And here's something interesting. Most people are not paying attention to your mistakes. They're focused on the conversation, not on correcting your grammar.
That's a great point. Another reason people feel anxious is lack of confidence. They think, what if I forget a word? Or what if I don't understand the other person?
Yes, but confidence comes after speaking, not before. The more you practice, the more comfortable you become. The key is to start small, short conversations, simple sentences, and step by step your confidence will grow.
Exactly. And one powerful way to overcome fear is to reframe your thoughts. Instead of thinking, what if I make a mistake? Change it to, what if I learn something new today?
I love that. And another great strategy is slow down and breathe. Many people feel nervous and start speaking too fast, but when you slow down, you have more time to think, and you feel more in control.
Yes. Also, practicing in a low-stress environment helps. Before speaking with others, practice alone. Talk to yourself, record your voice, or practice in front of a mirror.
That's a great tip. And when you do speak with others, focus on communicating your message, not being perfect. Even if your grammar isn't perfect, people will understand you.
Absolutely. And remember, the more you speak, the easier it gets. Fear fades with practice.
So, to overcome fear and anxiety, 1. Accept mistakes. They help you learn. 2. Focus on communication, not perfection. 3. Slow down and breathe. Start small and build confidence step by step. Practice in a safe environment before speaking with others.
These are powerful strategies. Now let's talk about something that will help even more building daily habits for speaking fluency. Now that we've talked about overcoming fear, let's discuss something very important: daily habits to keep speaking English. Julia, why is daily practice so important?
Because consistency is the key. If you practice a little bit every day, even for just 10 to 15 minutes, you'll improve much faster than if you practice once a week for an hour.
That's so true. And the best part is, you don't need a language partner or a class. You can create simple daily habits to improve your speaking. What's a good habit to start with?
One of the easiest habits is reading out loud. If you read for just 5 minutes every day, you'll improve your pronunciation and fluency naturally.
That's a great one. Another habit is talking to yourself. Describe what you're doing, express your thoughts, or even have a small conversation with yourself in English.
Yes, and if you want to make it more fun, record yourself speaking. Choose a topic, speak for 1 minute, and then listen to yourself. You'll notice your progress over time.
I love that idea. Another powerful habit is shadowing. Listen to a native speaker and repeat after them, copying their pronunciation and rhythm.
That's a great way to sound more natural. And of course, if possible, try to speak with others daily, even if it's just a short conversation with a friend or an online partner.
Absolutely. So let's summarize these daily speaking habits. 1. Read out loud for a few minutes. 2. Talk to yourself in English. 3. Record your voice and listen to it. Practice shadowing native speakers. Find small ways to speak with others every day.
If you do even one or two of these every day, your speaking will improve so much.
That's right. Now, before we wrap up, let's talk about how to track progress and stay motivated. Wow, we've covered so much today. From understanding why people stay silent to overcoming fear, building confidence, and creating daily speaking habits.
Yes, and the most important takeaway is start speaking today. Even if it's just a few words, the more you speak, the better you get.
Exactly. English fluency is not about being perfect, it's about communicating with confidence. So don't wait. Turn silence into speaking.
And remember, learning is a journey. Keep practicing, stay patient, and have fun with it.
Before we go, we have a challenge for you. Try speaking in English for 2 minutes today. Talk to yourself, record your voice, or have a short conversation.
And if you found this episode helpful, subscribe to our podcast and share it with a friend who wants to improve their English.
That's right. Also, leave us a comment. What's your biggest challenge when speaking English? We'd love to hear from you.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Until then, keep speaking, keep learning, and keep growing. Bye for now.